Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is Amateur Hour Sports. We're back for a live stream here today as we kind of sit in the wake, excuse me, of the NBA draft lottery. Still obviously settling in a little bit as the Raptors fell to 9th overall in the draft lottery. Talked about it on a stream yesterday. We were live for that lottery. We watched it along together. That was tough one to do in the end. And then I did a video about it today. So we talked about it a lot. We don't need to go extensively into reactions to the lottery and everything. We know what happened. I've talked about it. But we'll cover a little bit of the fallout from the rest of the NBA. We'll talk a little bit of NBA playoffs. We'll hang out and have some fun. If you guys enjoy along the way, as always, smash the like button. And any questions you have, gonna rely on. I got all my thoughts out yesterday, so basically a lot of today gonna be like kind of Q&A stuff. Send in some questions, send in some comments, and we'll discuss. Absolutely. My closet door's a little open. One sec. Slightly ajar. There we go. All right, we will discuss the rigged allegations. That's for sure. Because they're just so fucking stupid. But so we'll discuss those a little bit later. But yeah, how we feeling today? 9th. I mean, in the end, if they had finished 8th, I would have been like, okay, well, they were supposed to do that, I guess. But 9th, one spot. God forbid we fell one spot lower. I mean, it sucked. It absolutely sucked to have the chances there. At 9th overall, I'm right now, subject to change, subject to more information coming out about the players, subject to, combine, everything. Derek Queen is pretty interesting right now for the 9th overall spot. I am intrigued by getting a backup center. There's a better player available, then, we'll have to see. But Derek Queen at 9 looks to me like a really solid pick. Common Malawash, I think, will likely be a little bit out of range. Like maybe 1 or 2. 7 or 8, I think Malawash, we had him if we wanted him. Well, we might have had him if we wanted him. I don't think we'll have him at 9. So it's a tough one there. Yeah, I wanted to work with... I wanted the Raptors to work with Common Malawash, man. That would have been good. But not to be, I guess. And hey, maybe he goes top 6. Maybe he goes a little bit higher to one of those teams above. I mean, who are above? Well, the Pelicans is Eve Missy. The Wizards have Sar. The Jazz have Walker Kessler. I mean, maybe he won't go higher, thinking about it. Brooklyn have Claxton. They could go for a backup. Maybe does, maybe he can't fall to 9. Maybe he can fall to 9. I wouldn't count on it, though. What's up to the people in the chat, by the way? Thank you so much for tuning in. We've got Gregory here, Winner 1, Michelangelo, Tismo, David Mackin, Gregory, by the way, a 12-month member. Amazing. Thank you so much, Gregory. Phil Gaps, Bobby Turk. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in here. Probably Derek Queen. Yes, probably Derek Queen. Yeah, I was watching the Knicks-Celtics game yesterday. As soon as it happened, whenever a guy is going to... Whenever a guy crumbles off ball, that's always extraordinarily alarming. And then on the replay, it looks like it just looked immediately like an Achilles tear. The only thing that was missing, I guess, was sometimes when a guy tears his Achilles, he looks back, he feels like he got hit there, which he didn't do. But Tatum was pretty distraught, as you can imagine, and he probably knew right away. Even if you never had those sorts of injuries, sorry, hands are dry. Even if you never had those sorts of injuries, you kind of just, something went wrong. Like I remember when I tore my ACL. I'd never like torn anything, but I did. I tore it, and I was there. I'm like, yeah, that's got to be torn. That has got to be torn. So yeah, tough one there. I mean, the Celtics. Listen, I'll celebrate a Celtics win. It's tough to celebrate in those circumstances. They may have lost even if Jason Tatum didn't go down injured, though he was playing out of his mind. I like that the Celtics are down 3-1, but it sucks when a player gets injured, even a player I don't particularly like Jason Tatum. You want to see everybody healthy. You want to see everybody out there. That's part of the competition. But, as it is with every playoff run, health is a factor. Your team's got to be healthy. And look, I'm not even going to say the Celtics can't come back, even without Jason Tatum. They're more than capable of doing it against this New York Knicks team. Nathan joining us as well. Always on different accounts. Come on. But welcome, Nathan. Let's say both Malawash and Fears fall to 9. Who are you picking? I'm a fan of Malawash. I'm very interested there. For Jeremiah Fears, I not disinterested there, but I am pretty fixated currently on Malawash, but I'll have to finalize my Raptors big board, and I got a while to do it. But as of right now, I like Malawash. Raptors won't trade up. I talked about the video today. It's just like, why would a team want to trade down, right? Ain't gonna happen. When does it start? When does what start? I have no idea what you're talking about. I really didn't like Malash's combine score. Very poor vertical, and agility results. How bad? I wasn't really expecting him to be that bad. I watched Quinn in college. There's something about his mentality I like. Not afraid to take the last shot. Full of confidence. Yeah, confident guy. Good intangibles there for sure for Quinn. It looks interesting. Don't want Malash. Want someone who could be a future star. Yeah, I guess. That's not going to be your Malash probably not going to be an MVP, but he might be a really good center, and that's really valuable. So might work out there. Easier for him to impact the NBA as well with his size. So, you trade off high floor, lower ceiling for low ceiling but higher floor. So there's ways to go about it for sure. Yeah, Spurs. Man, they just in the history of that franchise, the luck they've had. David Robinson, and then that era kind of as it's on its way out, they get Tim Duncan, right? And then that era finishes. They wait a little bit. Then they get Victor Wembanyama. Now they get Dylan Harper. They pulled off a bit of a robbery of a trade for De'Aaron Fox. It's tough. Some teams have the luck. Some teams don't, man. That's just all it is. I think it's been established Barnes is not a number one option. I don't think it's been established. I don't think anything is established with a player who is 23 years old. Evan Mobley, people on their knees for this guy. He's nowhere near a first option. Now, he is the defensive player of the year. That helps. For sure. But, Barnes is still a fantastic player. And one could say Brandon Ingram could turn into a number one offensive guy, as he's kind of into his prime here. What's my opinion on us drafting Denver Kasparis? Yeah, both solid options as well. I mean, maybe Kasparis I'd look at a little bit further, a little bit more. Interesting player, but both, yeah. Big guards. Big guards are the wave, right? People want the big guards. They're interesting for sure. There's a lot of talent around this spot. As much as it sucks to fall, there's a lot of talent around the spot at number 9. Bring back Jared Rhoden. Jared Rhoden, if I'm not mistaken, is on contract for the full season. Midway through the season, he signed a multi-year 2-way contract. So I believe he is on a 2-way contract already for the upcoming season. So I don't think they'd have to waive him for him to not come back for next season. So if you want Jared Rhoden back, Raptor champs, you'll likely have him back. A lot of good players here. Yeah, a lot of good players here. Dallas got the number 1 pick. Yes, they did. All right. Cooper Flag gets to play with 2 future Hall of Famers his first few seasons. Yeah, it kind of. Well, I guess so does Dylan Harper, Chris Paul, and Victor Wembanyama. Definitely. Well, Chris Paul is definitely going to be in the Hall of Fame, 100 million%. Victor Wembanyama is looking like he's going to do it. The Celtics really about to be in full rebuild. I disagree, but the Celtics will probably be really good next season again because their team is just absolutely stacked. I guess they may have to trade somebody. Maybe they trade Drew Holiday or something, but Celtics will be okay. Which player in our range is most likely to be a future All-Star? I don't know. Kind of tough to say. That's the question, I guess, that they're going to try and answer ahead of the draft. They're going to look for the guy they think can be a future All-Star. You know, that's probably what they're going to try and get. If we had the answer, the team would just draft him, you know? Any players Masai could reach for at 9 because he values him. For sure, but I just there's a lot basically there's a lot up in the air right now. A lot can change. So it's difficult to really come up with the best answers to who's the best player at this spot. There's still more that we are going to learn about the draft and about the players that'll be available. The guy Noah Esengu, I hope that's how you say it. It's in French. It's French, so Esengu, probably. Noah Esengu looks like a player that maybe the Raptors look to, if your question is like reach for. Right now, from what I'm seeing, he's not projected to be top 10, but that's a guy I could see the Raptors looking at. Your prototypical Masai Ujiri pick, young, raw, athletic, 6'9", 2-way, power forward, small forward. I know everyone loves hearing about those guys. Songe. That makes sense. That's a guy who could be of interest to the Raptors 100%. When you have a side, don't worry about picks. They'll find the best fit. I wouldn't say they'll find the best fit, but I do have a lot of faith that the besides Jerry, Dan Tolzman, who's I believe is like head of scouting, I don't believe he's lost that role or doesn't have that role anymore. Bobby Webster. These guys have a very, very good track record in the draft. Does it have blemishes? It does, of course, but they have a pretty fucking pristine draft record for sure. You're gonna have misses. I mean, everyone talks about how well OKC has drafted over the years. They have a shit ton of misses. They just have had so many picks. Yeah, they find a lot of great picks, but they also have a shit ton of misses in there. So you're not gonna always nail it, but they have nailed it quite often. And whoever they pick, I don't think I'd be upset about anybody that they do pick. If Scotty regresses next year to the same level, should we start to consider trading him? I love this question. If Scotty regresses next year, should we start to consider trading him? So don't trade him. If he regresses, do we begin the process of starting to consider a trade? Okay, if Scotty Barnes regresses, his value's down, and you know he can be better. So, no. That's a very, very, that'd be a very sell low spot. If Barnes, let's say, if he regresses after next season, which I don't think he will, if he does, he'll be 24, and he still won't be close to his prime. So no rush on like starting to consider trading him, in my opinion. Obviously, when I say that, it's like, okay, but if Giannis is available, now it's kind of like, well, okay, maybe we do consider trading him. Maybe we start to consider trading him. But I'm not hunting out a trade for a 24-year-old who has all-star pedigree and potential. This guy's Aaron proven it. Sky Barnes is better than Aaron Gordon already. I know Aaron Gordon's very good. Listen, you don't need to tell me about how good Aaron Gordon is. I'm a very big Aaron Gordon fan from his time with the Nuggets. Didn't really like him on Orlando, but the way he's molded his role for sure. But that is like, you're very much selling Scotty Barnes short when you lump him into that category. He's Aaron Gordon on steroids, okay? Maybe Barnes, if some things about his game don't get fine-tuned, and we're in, 26, 27 years old now. We're 4 years down the road with Barnes, and we're still not convinced. Then I think you go, okay, now what happens if we lower the role and just heighten the things he does really well? Then you can start to get into those conversations. But as of right now, 23 years old, no, I'm not going to entertain that sort of a conversation. Is Pascal Siakam on a different level now that he was with the Raptors? No, he's just getting respect because, I don't know, because Raptors fans aren't just shitting on him for no reason now. He's always been very good, but now he's a bit worse on defense nowadays because he's lost a bit of his step. He's lost a bit of his athleticism. But what he has gotten better at is, like, his bag is deep. Like, man, how many fucking years did we endure this fan base talk about how Siakam has no bag? Like, he's got an unbelievably deep bag now. He always had a pretty good bag with the Raptors, but unbelievably deep bag now with the Pacers. Like, his ability to break down zone defenses, my God. What a, fantastic player. All-star this year. He might be All-NBA this year. He's transforming his game as his body is kind of letting him down a little bit more year by year. And he's kept the same level because his basketball mind, his basketball brain has just kept on getting better. He's a great player, man. It's a shame Raptors fans didn't respect him enough. Absolutely fell off a bit defensively. Just lost a step. And he's been hampered there. Offensively, though, absolute demon still. Gordon is probably a better shooter than Barnes at this moment, but Barnes does almost everything else better. Oh, well, you're not wrong percentage-wise, but I'll say this, does Aaron Gordon shoot as many threes as Barnes? Does he take as many pull-up threes as Barnes? He doesn't. So if, Barnes was, only taking catch-and-shoot threes, he'd probably be a lot better. So, okay, does the criticism now become, why is Barnes taking all these threes? I mean, coaches clearly were pushing him to shoot a lot of threes. He's got to make more for sure, Scotty Barnes. But, can you imagine Aaron Gordon playing the role Scotty Barnes does on offense for the Raptors? That's pretty funny to think about. Just, they're different, completely different players. I agree, Doug, one of our members with the 12-month badge. Siakam is a Raptors legend that a lot of fans did not appreciate. Yeah, a lot of kind of players fall into that a little bit. People just, I don't know. Their Raptors fans are always wanting that little bit more, and are upset if they don't get it. Again, I'm not saying Aaron Gordon is not a good player, but we're talking about a different tier when we talk about Scottie Barnes. That's not disrespectful. Hey, Scottie Barnes is a great player. He is light years away from guys like Giannis and Jokic. Doesn't mean he's bad. He's just not nowhere near as good as those guys. Aaron Gordon, I wouldn't say nowhere near as good as Barnes, but he's not as good as Barnes. Definitely not. He has worked a lot on his game, Gordon, to be that complementary piece rather than more of like a focal point as he was with the Orlando Magic. Scottie closer to Aaron Gordon or Giannis? Probably like slightly off center, like leaning towards Aaron Gordon, I guess. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being Aaron Gordon, 10 being Giannis, let's put Scottie at 4. Maybe 3.5. OG was the one I always disrespected. Why? Like, one of the best defenders in the NBA, played for the Raptors, who also was an amazing three-point shooter. Yeah, fuck that guy. Like, one of the best archetypes you could ever find. Elite defender. Borderline elite three-point shooting. Fuck that guy. Why would you not like that? I don't understand. Traded 3 players better than Scottie just to build around him. Siakam is better. Can't really think of the other two. I mean, maybe Fred, but at that stage, probably not. Not that I don't like Fred. Fred's a great player. You can be worse than player B can be worse than player A and still be really good. OG be our best player. He'd be really good. Best. I don't know about best. Maybe most valuable. I mean, you saw what he got paid. But I don't know about being our best player. Some people just aren't like built to be the best player. OG's very good though, and he's obviously more valuable than RJ Barrett. The Raptors traded for RJ and quickly when they traded OG Anunoby. Hindsight, for sure, you undo that RJ and IQ trade. I think at the time we were kind of thinking this rebuild would be a bit of a longer process, and they've sped it up. And knowing that they've sped it up to this degree, probably want to go back and probably want to have that one back, I'd say. Not that I don't like Quickly and Barrett. OG is just a really tough piece to find. OG is any system. OG anywhere, any team, he'll be very good because he is fantastic. He's just the perfect player for any team. Every team is looking for OG Anunoby. Every team wants an OG Anunoby. They want an elite defender who can shoot the shit out of the ball from 3. Great transition player, multi-position defensively. Everybody's looking for that type of guy. That's what people are looking for. All right. Wanted to talk. Let's go back to the lottery here. I think Masai should get a spanking on fumbling. That Van Vliet, Siakam, Anunoby, Barnes core should have got them at being at 21-22. Yeah. The Pirtle trade 1 year earlier. I think things probably look pretty different for this team. That exact trade 1 year earlier. Man. That could have been something. I think that could have been something. Well, OG is not a great dribbler. I don't disagree with that. He is older than Barrett as well. You're not wrong, but I don't ask R.J. Barrett to guard the other team's best defender. Like, I'm not asking OG to dribble to the rim, get in close, get his own bucket. I asked Barrett to do that. I'm not asking Barrett to guard Jason Tatum. I'm asking OG to do that, right? They're different players. But I agree. RJ Barrett, as much as I like him, I don't think he'll ever have the impact on a winning team like OG Anunoby has had even. OG's just a really, really good player. Very, very valuable. If RJ Barrett was more valuable than OG, then we would have traded RJ Barrett for RJ Barrett straight up with OG Anunoby. We didn't. An expiring OG Anunoby contract got Barrett and quickly. Like that's just facts what it was. I like all these players, but like the value that Anunoby brings to the team is absolutely appreciated. Barrett's a good driver. Let's not sell him short. He's got a lot better as a player driving to the rim this season, and much more poised in those areas. That's kind of coming with age. Playmaking jump this year. I like Barrett. It's just you'd probably want to have the one back. Looking back on it, looking at this current team, a rebuilding team taking OG or RJ. Probably like if you're a bad team, you want Barrett because he's creating shots for himself. He's scoring a lot. If you're a good team, you definitely want OG. Like, no question. The playmaking jump was a welcome surprise, but next step for Barrett is defense and shooting need to step up because he's not good enough to be like the offensive engine you build your team around. Like he'll be complimentary. He'll be complimentary. Likely, he'll be complimentary to the better players on a good team. So, in order to better complement spacing and defense, and he knows that he talked about it in his postseason press conference. Those are the things that he's going to work on in the offseason. We'll see how he looks next season. But, sometimes you do forget how young Barrett is. I agree. I've given Scotty Barnes, like, hey, he's only 23. But Barrett's only 24. So it's not like Barrett can't continue to progress. He's also not in his prime. So, not wrong. He's 24. Still opportunity to continue to grow. But defense and shooting got to be the next steps for him there. Zach Cote has subscribed. Thank you for subscribing, Zach. Welcome to the Amateur Army. I think RJ next couple years will jump to a 24 point per game player. He'll just need more efficiency. He'll need more shooting. Like there's a pretty clear, like if the Raptors played a team that defended the rim well, Barrett didn't play well. If the Raptors played a team that didn't defend the rim well, Barrett played well. What's your only peak age for an NBA player? 27 to 30. Obviously, it can vary, but 27 to 30 is usually what you call a player in their prime. Maybe for certain positions, you could say a bit older, like maybe a center. Maybe you could say 28, 31. Some players are, much more athletically gifted and use that to advantage. Maybe you lower it a little, 26 to 29, something like that. But generally, 27 to 30 is when a player is at their peak. All right. I wanted to go back to the lottery here because I actually did want to talk about this. So we saw what happened at the draft lottery. Of course, everyone saw Dallas Mavericks vaulted up to the first overall selection in the NBA draft, moved up 10 spots despite having a 1.8% chance of getting that first overall pick, only an 8.5% chance of even moving into the top four. The San Antonio Spurs had a 26.3% chance of moving to the top four. They go second. The Philadelphia 76ers had a 42.1% chance of going top four, and they get the third overall pick. Those ones maybe not as ridiculous, but sorry, I thought I had this ready. But the pick odds in general, like Philly, 10.6% chance of moving to third. San Antonio, 6.3% chance of moving to second. It was very unlikely for that to happen, but that's how the lottery works. The lottery is for the top 4 picks. That is what the lottery balls are deciding. There are 14 ping pong balls numbered 1 through 14 that the machine spits out at random, and the combination of numbers 1 through 14, each team is assigned a certain amount of combinations for different positions, and that combination of 4 numbers of ping pong balls put the Dallas Mavericks first, put the San Antonio Spurs second, put the Philadelphia 76ers third, and the Charlotte Hornets fourth. That was what the lottery balls spit out. The rest of the order in the draft lottery is just reverse standings beyond that. The lottery is for the top 4 picks. Hence why when you look at the pick odds, every team in the lottery has a chance to move up into any of the top 4 positions. And then the further you go down, the more teams that jump up, the further these teams can fall. So for the Raptors, who were 7th in the reverse standings, if somehow 4 teams were to jump above them into the lottery, they can move back a maximum of 4 positions. That's how the lottery works. It's for the top 4 picks. But is that random? And a lot of randomness can happen. And that was one of the more random outcomes I think that we have maybe ever seen with this current lottery system. But maybe, some people are wondering, maybe it's not random. How could something with such a low percentage probability, something with a 0.0114% chance of happening, how could that happen to those 3 teams? Those 3 bigger markets like Dallas, like San Antonio, like Philly. How could it happen to them? People think it's rigged. People talk about it being rigged. Tim Bontemps says, this is ESPN analyst, still can't believe this happened. Dufine says, proof, it's rigged. Ladies and gentlemen, the lottery is not rigged. The lottery is positively not rigged. It is observed behind the scenes by executives, by media. It is a ping pong ball machine that shoots out 4 random ping pong balls of 14. And that's it. That determines the lottery order. There's not logos or names on these ping pong balls. It is literally 14 ping pong balls with the numbers 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 14. Each team, or each possible 1,001 outcomes assigns a certain 4 teams to end up as the top pick, the second pick, the third pick, and the 4th pick. I think in the rigged conversation, I feel like we don't have control over the lottery. It's all luck-based. But people don't want to feel completely helpless. I don't know why, but I feel like NBA fans just don't want to feel like they're completely helpless in this situation. They are. But I think there's a comfort level that people get by thinking, well, it's rigged anyway, so what are we supposed to do about it? It's just a random assortment of ping pong balls that give out, that have predetermined probabilities. Like any top 4 order would have been unlikely. You could have kept the same order. You could have kept this exact same order. Jazz, Wizards, Hornets, Pelicans as the top 4. That would have been really unlikely. It would have been really unlikely for it to stay in the exact same order. But people are upset just because it is the bigger markets that did get rewarded. But no, it is not rigged. It is just any outcome would have been unlikely. This is just a very unlikely one that also featured teams that people probably didn't want to see get rewarded. But what I also wanted to focus on here was the second part of this tweet from Bontemps saying, I do think it's fair to wonder if the new rules for the lottery have helped or if they've created more problems than they've solved. Today didn't help that because like the Dallas Mavericks got rewarded with the first overall pick. Dallas, of course, traded Luka Doncic mid-season for for Anthony Davis. And the goal of that trade was to make the Dallas Mavericks better right now for this season. They wanted to make the playoffs. They didn't. Injuries played a part. They missed out through the play-in tournament. They got sucked into the lottery, where they won the lottery. Absolutely won the lottery with that 1.8% chance. But it's not like the NBA is just, we feel bad for you, Dallas. Sorry, y'all. You made a bad trade. We feel bad. You know, let's get Cooper Flag in this big market destination. And, yeah, we're sorry, bro. You know, we needed Luka on the Lakers because we needed to boost the NBA's TV ratings. They're crumbling. We needed Luka on the Lakers so people would start watching the NBA more. But you know what? We'll throw you a bone as a thank you for sending Luka to the Lakers for that. We'll give you Cooper Flag. Like, how is this, to some people, more plausible than just random luck, random variance, and the draft just being an actual lottery? It's literally called a fucking lottery, right? But again, it's just a control thing. But has this helped? Has this hindered? Because a big talking point out of this draft was that the Utah Jazz fell 4 spots to 5th overall. This is the 3rd year in a row that the first seed for the lottery, the bottom seed in the NBA, has fallen the maximum of 4 positions. They fell to 5th overall, as did the Pistons last year, and unfortunately the Pistons the year before that. But there is a 48% chance that they can fall there. Because the lottery, what it does, it doesn't necessarily reward you with a top 4 pick, like guaranteed. You only have a 52.1% chance if you're the worst in the NBA to get a top 4 pick. Tanking heightens your floor. You have a higher floor now that you are the worst team today. Because the lowest you can go is 5th, and the Wizards found out the lowest they could go was 6th, and they did. They fell to 6th overall despite having a 20% chance to do that. The Pelicans fell to 7th despite having a 16.8% chance to do that, right? The lottery, again, is for those top 4 picks. So there's a certain trade-off there. The Jazz egregiously tanked for so much of this season. Did they deserve the first overall pick? The point of this new lottery system is to decentivize teams from doing that. Wizards tanked pretty much the entire season. They fall to 6. So the problem is teams are still going to tank, and they need that help, but there's no perfect solution. Do we reward these teams for being hopelessly bad and pathetic and not playing their regular players for big minutes and resting guys and faking injury reports? Do we reward the teams for doing that? Or do we leave it up to random chance like we saw here? How are these teams supposed to get better if they don't tank? Because the Wizards are hopeless. The Hornets are hopeless. What are they supposed to do if they're not tanking? They can't make the playoffs anyways. Tanking would probably be even worse if we didn't have this lottery system in place. So it's not perfect, I agree, but you can't flatten the odds. Like, you can't give every team the same percentage chance, because if you do that, then there's going to be really hard tanking around this area. Teams who don't want to make the play-in. And then now the play-in becomes less competitive, and the chase for the play-in becomes less competitive than it already is. So there's no perfect system here. I'm not sure that the NBA has it completely correct, though, with the way it's in place. Maybe the lottery is just for the first overall pick, and the rest of the teams aren't punished as much with how they can fall. Maybe the lottery is just for the top 3 picks, and, you know, less of a chance to get bumped as far as some teams have done. But the NBA is trying to make teams think harder about tanking. But I think that reigned true for a little bit. And then the last few years, since like the Wemby year, like, I think Wemby kind of opened people's eyes. Just like, man, like, we weren't gonna make the playoffs anyways. Why didn't we just give ourselves the best possible chance at getting Victor Wembanyama. So I think that's how a lot of people are starting to think. I'm not sure the NBA will overreact to this. I just think, look, it was a randomized outcome, and not randomized. It was a weighted possibility of outcomes, and it just turned out that some of the bigger markets got rewarded, and that kind of sucks for the rest of the NBA's fan bases. But I don't see any drastic changes happening to this. But what do you guys think? Big changes coming? It kind of looks soft on the NBA for like making this lottery system, then going, okay, the lottery system literally did what it was supposed to do. But fuck, we're not happy. We got to change this. They probably are pretty happy with the outcome, I guess, with some of the bigger markets getting some of these star guys. But they're not looking to reward teams. It's just, it happens. Like, if they could have a perfect NBA Finals matchup, it'd be probably Lakers-Celtics. If they could hand pick that. That's probably what they want, but they're probably not super upset if it isn't. You know what? The NBA Cup final, they probably were upset it was Bucks-Hawks. They probably did not like that, but it's it's part of it. It's part of the gamble I guess they take as well with these sorts of things. Low is not zero. I agree with you, Doug. Even if it's a low chance, it is a possible chance. I will do the door shot. I will have to do the door shot before I go. Would I do flag plus AD for Luka? Oh, that's tough, man. See, that's a more reasonable trade, for sure. I will do the door shot. So I don't know. Will this stop teams from tanking? Probably not, because the Jazz, they got bumped as far as they could, and they still have a top 5 pick, right? Have we thought of trading? We're not trading up. Why would a team trade down? Teams are not going to want to trade down. There's nobody oh my God, we have to get at 5. We have to take that off the Jazz so we can draft a different guy. I don't think it's worth it. I wouldn't expect to trade up here. Yeah, Doug words it really well here. I'm not sure there's any solution to the lottery that makes everyone feel like it's fair and doesn't encourage tanking. It's a lottery. It's literally called a lottery. It's luck. Some teams have it, some teams don't. The Raptors have had a lot of bad luck over the years with the lotteries, for sure. And the year they won, that thing, they got Andrea Bargnani. The one time we got it. We fucked it up. For sure. But, playoffs have been great. I mean, I think the whole ratings conversation comes from people who just don't like basketball. People who like basketball, watch basketball, enjoy it. The rigged crowd, I just think are people, you got to have mashed potatoes in your head to think it's rigged. Seriously. It's just so stupid. I think Adam Silver could literally take all 14 ping pong balls. I think on camera he could weigh them individually so you could see that they are weighted the exact same as each other. Adam Silver could individually put those balls in the machine with a blindfold on. Mix it around. You know what? No, he can't. God forbid he touches them. What if they're fucking heated up? He would weigh them. He'd put them on the scale, let go, and it would roll off the scale automatically into the machine. All 14. Then while in the machine, a device would take the machine and shake it all around. Shake it up so it's in a randomized order now. But what if the machine is rigging it so the balls they want are on top? Oh, no. I think this is the best we got, though. Machine shakes it all up. Okay? And then everyone leaves the room. Everyone leaves the room. And the machine spits out the 4 balls. When it's done, it makes like a big ding sound. Everyone comes back in and sees the arrangement of the 4 balls. And that determines who's first. Because even if the balls are weighted differently, by the way, like the first 3 ping pong balls come out. Depending on what number's next, Dallas could be drafting fucking 12th. It could be drafting fucking first. Because like there was like the last ping pong ball, whatever it was. If it's a different number, now Portland, who are drafting 11th, would have had the first pick. So it's not like they could weight them, because it also matters what order they appear in. It is fucking impossible for them to rig this thing. It is as close to foolproof as we can pretty much get. It is impossible to rig. It is actually fucking impossible to rig. It is as rig-proof as possible. But if you just have it in your head, your meatloaf head, that it's rigged, why am I wasting my time? Because I will never be able to convince you. Because if you can actually believe that the lottery is rigged in its current state, trying to convince you would be harder than trying to convince a fucking brick wall of this. It's just, you're not going to come off that stance. It cannot be rigged. It is impossible to rig this, pretty much. I'm sure you could come up with some fucking fictional situation in which all the NBA executives and media that are in the room while this is happening, all of them are conspiring together to get Cooper Flag on the Dallas Mavericks because it's better for TV ratings. And everyone shares the TV revenue, so they all want him in a big market. Well, I tell you what, if I'm Portland and I'm 1 ball away from getting the first overall pick, my team's making a hell of a lot more money being better because we have Cooper Flag, getting more asses in seats at higher prices because people want to watch Cooper Flag, and I'm getting more merch exposure. I'm getting more exposure on television. I'm selling more merch. It is a big deal to get the first overall pick. Now, you think the New Orleans Pelicans would have been just as happy to see Zion Williamson go to the fucking New York Knicks because it would have helped for TV ratings? I think the Pelicans are pretty happy with the way that lottery went. Now, Zion's time hasn't been great, but it just infuriates me because it is so unbelievably stupid to think that the lottery is rigged. Anyways, there's my rant for the day. Let's switch topics. Could be AI generated. Yeah. You know what will be funny? There is a 1 in 1,001 possibility that the 4 lottery balls that spit out. So like I said, there's 1,001 combinations. One of those combinations is null. It's nothing. So if I'm to understand it correctly, there is a possibility of the 4 lottery balls coming out, and they may have to do it again because it's a combination that doesn't mean anything. Because they wanted it to be an even 1,000 combinations. Right? So one of them out of the 1,001 is nothing. I wonder if they just have to do it again. Hey, maybe it's happened, but they just wouldn't tell us. Because, we don't need to know, I guess. But it's not rigged. If you think it's rigged, man. Society might thrive without you. Probably would thrive much more greatly. If you just stayed in bed all day and did nothing, I think society would function greater. That's gotta be like basement society. People who think the draft lottery is rigged because they're unhappy with the outcome. I don't know. You gotta be really fucking stupid to think that. I'm sorry. If you do, start using your brain because it's not rigged. Start thinking critically for yourself one time, and you'll be a much more productive member of society, and I think the collective would benefit. I wonder what the actual... you'll never be able to get a proper sample size, because like if I posted a poll on Twitter, is the NBA draft lottery rigged? A lot of people would probably might say yes just for fun. Like an actual sample size. I would love to know what percentage of people actually think the lottery's rigged. What would you guys say is the actual percentage? I have a brave circuit for it. People deny things that have centuries worth of evidence. You can't logic someone out of a position they don't use logic. Yeah, that's fair. It's good way of... It's another banger. You can't logic someone out of a position they didn't use logic to get to. It's like people who think the moon landing was fake, or people who think like the Earth is flat. How could you possibly convince them off their stance when they've just fabricated their position to begin with? They don't give a shit about facts, because if they did, they wouldn't think like they do. That's true. God forbid any of you think the moon landing was fake or the Earth is flat. Then we'd really thrive as a society without you. Yeah, you're right. The percentage is that... I don't think the percentage is that high, but they're often loudest, so it feels higher than it is. You're right. I don't know, man. There's like longtime viewers trying to convince me it's rigged, and I'm just astounded. Even if it's like 15%, I'm astounded. Like if 5% of people think it, like whatever, we'll be fine. But like if we're in like 15-20%, man. My uncle thinks that there are over 6,000 Joe Bidens. It's like, how are you supposed to argue with that, right? What I have to do is just, if somebody thinks the NBA draft lottery is rigged, just pretend it's somebody who thinks the Earth is flat, and just leave it. They're wrong. They're dumb. I'm never going to convince them they aren't. They're never going to believe they're wrong. They don't care about facts. If they did, they wouldn't think the way they do. Obviously, it just really fucking pisses me off. Oh, man. It ends up being Pacers, Knicks. Who are you cheering for? Personally, Pacers for me. I would love a Pacers championship compared to everybody else. Now, my answer is always, if Raptors can't win, I hope nobody does. But Pacers would be the probably best outcome at this point. Siakam winning another chip would be fun. I'm still a big Pascal Siakam fan. Yeah, Pacers probably best. Fuck the Knicks, right? OKC, you don't want to see a 1 seed win. Boring. Nuggets, they got one. I mean, I'm okay with them getting another, because it solidifies Jokic as an all-timer, which he already is. I like Jokic. I think he's amazing. Minnesota would be okay. Nobody wants to see the Warriors win. Celtics and Cavaliers, forget about it. Not a chance. Pacers would be okay. I would prefer the Nuggets one, but if OKC won, that's for the Nuggets one. But I think OKC will win. The problem is if the Pacers make the NBA Finals. The only problem there is depending who they play. To be fair, I thought OKC would wipe Denver. They're not. It's 2-2, and it was almost 3-1 Denver. Then again, it's almost 3-1 OKC in a way. If the Pacers play OKC, I feel like OKC would wipe them, which is why I think we may not get a great series. But I think the Pacers, they're really sticking it to team. I mean, they have been fantastic since January. They've been, I think I heard today, they're 41-16 in their last 57 games. So maybe they can kind of They can do it. I like them over the Knicks a little bit. I think they'll run them into the ground. But Pacers would be an really interesting team to go far. But they still got to finish their dinner, which I think they'll do it in 5. Knicks have to finish their dinner. Not sure they'll do it in 5, but I think they'll do it. Pacers haven't had to change their game plan since playoffs started. That's not necessarily true. Like, they really emphasize speed in Game 4, and that was a shift in game plan. Maybe, like, personnel-wise, they haven't had to change, which you're right about. A lot of teams have had to shift, like OKC. Okay, now they benched Dort in the fourth quarter. And the Knicks, now Robinson is way more involved. I guess to a certain extent, the Pacers haven't really had to change much personnel-wise, but like style-wise, they've tried to impose themselves on at least on Game 4 a little bit more. You got mad at people saying the draft was rigged, but reports are even players who were at the draft, including King James, were saying the draft was rigged. Paul, like I said, we might thrive with less people who think like this. I think we would be better off. The draft is not rigged. It is. It's not. We're all good. I'm from Ohio. Everyone in the area is going wild because of that series. Raptors fan, though. It's tough being the 1 seed and losing pretty horrifically to a 4 seed. I wouldn't know what that's like as a Raptors fan, of course. Zach with another title deserves a lot more respect. He already does, man. He already does. Doesn't matter how the lottery is playing. 1.8% is not 0. But with a coin toss to it, might as well have been all the way back to Ewing. People have thought it was rigged. Yeah, the Ewing one is like people think there was like a heated envelope or like a frozen envelope or something. See, at least in that, there's like a reasonable way they could have maybe explained it. It wasn't rigged, but at least we can get to that conclusion easier than we can now. You know what I mean? The pathway to the answer, lottery was rigged, is a lot shorter in 1985 than it is in 2025. Let me tell you, a few months back, the Pacers would make it farther than Boston. You can't create. I said you'd bet 100 and then pulled out of that deal. You pulled out. I would have bet you. I would have bet you more than 100 that the Celtics go further than the Pacers. I don't know if you're saying I pulled out. I think you pulled out. I wouldn't have pulled out, other than I didn't want to get a middleman involved in actual. I would have comfortably bet more than 100. Leafs Panthers predictions. Oh boy, I actually have a soccer game tomorrow. My co-ed season starts tomorrow. My rec league, so I'm gonna miss the third period. Could be a blessing, could be a curse. They said the envelope was bent in the corner. Probably would have seen it if it was. You know, what I would do, what I would personally do, if I was an executive who knew the NBA rigged the lottery, and let's say I was the other team in the Ewing sweepstakes, whoever it was, I would just tell everybody. That way, I'm more likely to get Ewing. Like, if I lose out on Ewing, I'd just go, hey, they rigged this. New York didn't deserve him. Then I get him instead. I think they obviously could show the ping pong ball thing, but then they don't get to do a 30-minute TV segment with a ton of people watching. They could do that, though. You're right. You know what they could do? What they actually could do is maybe they should do this. They could film the entire ping pong ball segment and then upload it unedited to like YouTube or something after the fact, so we can see that there was no foul play or something. You know what I mean? Obviously, I don't believe there was, but they could upload the complete unedited footage of it. That would quiet people down too. Although then they could say, "Oh, well, they just did it, however many times it took to get Dallas first overall." You know what? They shouldn't do that, because whatever they do, there are going to be people who believe it's rigged and cannot be pushed off it. So you know what they should do? They should just not even entertain it. They should just go about business as normal, and just if people want to be mad, people are going to be mad. That's it. That's it. I would prefer Colin Malawash as the 9th overall pick, but I don't believe he will be available. So I'd still be happy with Derek Queen there currently. At the time, like the Ewing lottery was there was envelopes. It wasn't ping pong balls, I don't think. I think the Hakeem draft, which was 84, I believe that was a coin toss. I believe the bottom 2 teams just had a 50-50 chance. And it was a coin toss up until the Ewing draft. Let's have some fun here. Patrick Ewing envelope theory. Oh. All right. Well, 1 minute video. 356. Okay, I don't think Basketball John is gonna. There was a BuzzFeed video about it. BuzzFeed would claim this shit and demonetize this shit. Basketball John might spare us. So let's. So they put a bunch of envelopes in this bowl, this ball, and then they just shook it all up. Why did they use ping pong balls? Okay, I mean they're getting mixed up. They're getting pretty mixed up in there. Okay, so I mean, let's see. I mean, he just reaches in there. He reaches in, he grabs one. He's not feeling for one that's supposedly colder. I think that was one of the theories. He's not looking if it's folded. Like, he grabs one from the bottom. Now, granted, it is folded. However, being mixed in a massive sphere with a bunch of other ones would probably crease the edges a little bit. And then it was the Knicks. Yeah, I don't know. That looked pretty foolproof as well. I don't know how anybody can watch that and think they rigged it for the Knicks. The envelopes in the wheel is pretty stunning, I think. Like, I don't know, man. I'm going to assume they would have revealed at a certain point, like that every team was in one of the envelopes, but that's pretty funny. He took the cold. He picked up 3. He just reached in. Listen, he didn't grab the one on top. He just reached in. He grabbed it, flipped it. I guess he grabbed 2, and I guess he gave himself a chance of, if one of those 2 was the cold one, It's the Knicks one, I guess. It looked like he looked up, reached in, flipped, took one. Like, that's it. Looked pretty foolproof to me. You can see his hair look to flat. Sorry, it's increased thickness. So if anybody has seen, so this is a. I'll say this. I don't think this. I'm very strongly going to say this is not rigged. However, if you could rig a lottery or a draft or something of that nature, you could definitely rig soccer draws because, like, we'll look here. Here, let me see. Do we have an example of them doing it? Okay. So look, there's like some balls in here that they swirl around, right? If one of those was frozen or hot, because hang on. That guy mixes it. That guy doesn't look, and he picks. So they've even foolproofed this one. Previously, the person mixing the balls up in the bowl would take it themselves. They've actually changed it. Yeah, he felt both. Okay, he felt both, but even still. Okay, I was gonna say, it's not rigged. If you could rig a draw, that would be one you could rig, I think. But then again, the sheer amount of people that would have to conceal that truth. Like, if the Ewing draft was rigged, do you really believe not one single person involved wouldn't come out with that story? Do you seriously believe they keep it? To me, that's where a lot of conspiracy theories fall flat. All of them fall flat usually, but where a lot of popularized conspiracy theories fall flat for me is just I cannot believe that amount of people are all going to keep their mouth shut forever. So, I don't know. Yeah, for soccer, they have balls. You twist open to reveal the paper and a little bowl. They mix it up. They take a ball out. Patrick, they had the envelope in a ball turn. In theory, was a frozen one. We just watched it. He yanked that thing out. He didn't really have a lot of time. He didn't like feel right. Like, he went in and grabbed that thing. So I disagree. Experience would be decent. I agree. I think, Peter. We have 905 Yada. We got royalty in the house. 905 Yada. Look at that 2-year badge. Rigged or not, I'm happy for Mavs fans. Yeah, I'm happy for Mavs fans, not for their front office who didn't deserve this. Yeah, and as you said, the fans deserve this, not Nico though. I completely agree. All right, guys. What did we learn today? What did we talk about today? Draft lottery is not rigged. Draft lottery is not perfect, but I don't really know if we have a better system. We talked about Scotty Barnes a little bit. And we had some laughs. We laughed. We cried. We yelled. But, hey. Everything will be okay. Everything will be okay. Right? All right. That's it, guys. I'm going to a movie tonight, so I got to get out of here. I'm going to go see Thunderbolts, which may have changed the name to New Avengers. I don't know. Anyways, guys. I will be back on Thursday with a video. I don't know what I'll talk about yet. I'll be back on Saturday with another video where I'll be reacting to comments through the week. If the rigged allegations make the comment section of a video on YouTube, I'm going to talk about it in that Saturday video because it makes me angry still. But I'll probably say what I said here. You may as well be arguing with a wall. And then next stream, I guess, be hopefully next Tuesday, unless the Leafs are playing, which actually they shouldn't be. They need to get out of the series first. But anyways, guys, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in here. I'm very grateful for the community here. We'll be okay. Let's have a good offseason. Let's have a fun offseason of content. Thunderbolt's a great movie. I hope so. But I will see you all at the next one.